everyone. Thanks for joining us for another office hours session. My name is Matt, and we have a bunch of members of the team here today that are going to be going over some tips and tricks for our add-ons. Just as a reminder, this is a weekly office hours at 2 p.m. Eastern every Wednesday. So in the future, if you want to attend these, please feel free to register for future sessions. We will be running these. And again, we will be starting with an open forum, and the purpose of open forum is to answer your questions about our add-ons. So that could be any add-on from JuicedSign to Exact Forms Plus to TextMyQB. Whatever you might be subscribed to, we'd be happy to answer questions about it, whether you have or not. David, thank you very much for raising your hand. The floor is yours.
I'm working on a it's Exact Forms Plus, a single table, single document, and creating my template is Word and creating a PDF, and I'm struggling with font size.
Okay.
Is that?
Well, we definitely can help you with that. Typically, if it's coming from your master table, the font size would be controlled actually right in Word.
Yeah, I'm putting the font size in there, and it's just not coming over.
Is it a rich text field or a regular standard text field?
No, it's displaying a number. Is that the problem? It's displaying a number, the font size I've got in the Word template.
Okay. I can, if you don't mind, I can unshare my screen and we can give you permission to share your screen. That might help us get a little bit of a better understanding.
Sure. Yeah. Let me
Justin, does he have access to share his screen?
it says I can.
Okay, then you should be able to.
All right. Oh, yeah, got to hit share a couple times. Okay, here's the template.
Right. So
and so that's the template, and
right. I think the template might be a good place to start. And if you could open that back up, that might.
But we want to see the fields too. Like if you have, which one of those are all of the numbers not, resolving? Meaning
it's this one. That these are all displaying in the same font size. Obviously, you can tell this is an image. Let me open the result.
Now, field 19 in your table, is that a rich text field or is that a standard text field?
It should be a number. Number.
Okay.
Look up. Does that matter? That it's
taking record ID? Is this record ID 15?
Well, it's taken, that's field 19, right? So
yeah.
Are you're using the you're not using the mailing labels piece of
no, I am not.
Right. And when you create that as a Word document, it instead of creating a PDF, if you output to Word, does it look any different?
I have not tried.
Yeah, sometimes some of the issues with Exact Forms Plus happen from conversion from Word to PDF. So if you change the doc format to DOC, let's just see what that looks like.
Getting a nice demo of your product in the process. Yeah. Should I make a text field that?
No, that should come out. So you know what? Let's take this one offline, David, because I can
no
work
problem
with you on this, but it should actually come out with the right size. So when you saw your tilde 19 in that bold and bigger size font, it should come out like that. But yeah,
So actually, I just want to jump in real quick. I think if you don't have to show your screen again, but it looks like the tildes weren't at the font size of the 19.
oh,
So if you try to set that to the same font size, that might be the issue, but I'm not fully sure.
I'm sorry, I didn't follow you.
Yeah, so because normally in the document template, when you have that tilde 19 tilde, it looks like just for a little bit when you showed it that the tildes were smaller than the font size of the 19.
They are.
oh, that's a good pickup,
okay.
James. Yes, because Exact Fonts Plus does take the first character that it finds and uses the font type of the first character in that tilde 19 tilde. So that's a good catch, James. So give that a shot, David, and see if that fixes it.
I'm trying it as you speak. And I'm going to go back to PDF too. This is going to
Appreciate the question.
While we're waiting for David to finish that test, does anybody else have any questions before we move?
Right. Yeah, we definitely had a couple people come on since then. Just as a reminder for everyone, this is open forum. Traditionally, this is what our office hours are for. You know, if you guys have questions regarding any add-on, whether it's Exact Forms Plus or QB Courier or JuicedSign, we'd be happy to answer those for you. And David, again, we appreciate the question.
I'm going to have a result here in just a sec. Bingo. That was it.
James.
All right, James. James gets the
Yeah.
James.
Home
Glad
run.
that worked.
Thank you.
That's what these are for. So awesome. Glad we were able to resolve that for you right on call.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Great. So with that being said, just another moment for questions, anyone. Again, David, we appreciate it. Josh, JuicedSign error getting ran out of ink. That's our favorite. Do you like Juicy? We're going to need to know a little bit more. That error can come up in a couple different places. If you wouldn't mind, if you could either chat me or chat everyone, kind of exactly where in the process you got that error, we'd be able to kind of go into that with you.
Does it say anything more than just ran out of ink? Because sometimes we have an error message there, or we give a little bit more information besides ran out of ink.
I'll look more into it. I've tried it a couple of times. I made the mistake of bypassing your test template and trying to throw my own in there. And yeah, obviously I get what I get when I do that. But I stripped it down and just put just the tags in a blank form. And so that's all I have there, just trying to test it out to get it to work. So just a Word document with those couple of, the slash, I made up my own, but the /JT1 or whatever.
Right.
It lets you pick the user that we want to send it to, but when you hit the button to go, it just pops up that ran out of ink.
When you tried did you do the preview or did you do the send?
Preview.
The
I haven't tried to send yet, just on the preview.
Okay.
You know, it's possible that some of the stuff that Keith's going to be going over today in JuicedSign that might end up being part of the issue.
Perfect. That's why I'm here.
Great. Yeah. Let's see if something that I share today might give you an inkling as to what you might not have set up right. And we can always take this offline as well. We can screen share with you and walk through that. But
Excellent.
Yeah, let me because I'm actually going to go into a single signer and then multiple signers and a little tag configuration. So it might help. So why don't we jump into that?
Definitely the JuicedSign agreement info, Keith. I think that might be enough where that issue is.
Yeah.
Right. So my last slide was just going to be that we're going over JuicedSign details and tips and tricks today presented by Keith. So I'm just going to let him take the share right now and we will go from there.
Can you see my screen, Matt?
Yes, I can.
All right. So again, this is just a dummy app I have in my Builder account. I created a it's already set up to use JuicedSign as well as ExactForms Plus, because I'm going to use ExactForms Plus to generate a document and then JuicedSign to actually send it for signature. And I have, obviously the app is already set up. I don't want to go through the widget to set it up. So since I already did that, and we've done that in the past, I want to simply just show how I can, create an ExactForms Plus template, or really quote from this record. So basically it's ExactForms Plus, and it's a little crazy here, but we're just pulling information obviously from the record itself, some line item data, some purchase order information I'm going to bring back, and here's where the signing information is going to come into play. So here's a single signer. So this is one signing template, and I want to actually show you what the template looks like for this one. I'm going to pull it over in 1 second here. So this is the before, right? So this is the ExactForms Plus template, where it has the tildes and the signing information. ExactForms Plus created that document, put some variable information from the record in here, and now we're going to look a little bit further and actually send that out for signature. So when I asked Josh before if he did the preview, so those of you who do set up JuicedSign in your app, you'll see a preview button and a send button. These won't appear if you don't have a document, number one, in the field that we're going to send from. So that's important. If you don't have a document here, you won't see these buttons. So that's one thing I wanted to highlight. But if you do have a document in the sending field, you should see these buttons. And really, there's two fields down below that are very, very important, and they really drive what JuicedSign is going to do. So this one, this doc fids field, this is saying 24 and 8. And what that means is take the file from field 24, which is this one, and use template number 8 from the document templates table, which is over here, which has all of the tags information that we need to support the sending of that document for JuicedSign. So that's really the critical fields here are this doc fids, which tells us again what file attachment field to send and what template to go get the tags from. And this is the second field that's very important, is our recipient string, which tells us, well, who's involved in the signing process. So, and that means, okay, how many recipients are we going to have? What's the recipient's name? What's the email address? What order are they going to sign in? And what experience are they going to sign in? So, and that information I have in my little help here too. And we're going to make sure we put this in when we set up, but you might not see this when you set up. I just put these in a little while ago for more clarity. But anyway, when you click this preview button, it's basically going to open up a screen that's going to look like what the recipient's going to receive when they do get it for real. So this, again, this is our preview that loads the document, which you saw me create with ExactForms Plus. It loads all of the recipients, and we saw that there's one recipient, and this is what the recipient is going to have to do: enter a PO number, and they're also going to have to sign. And I like the placement of these tags. They're lining up exactly where I want them. That's kind of what the preview does. Now, Josh mentioned before that this isn't even coming up for him because he's getting an error beforehand. So some things to check on that is, number one, is to make sure that your template does have tags. So remember, I referenced tag number, field number 8. I'm bouncing around here, but I'm going to slow down a little bit, but I'm going to go back to this field down here. Remember, there has to be a file in here. It has to have the searchable anchor strings, which I'll show you in a minute. And this field has to point to a document template that has tags. So here's the template number 8. Here's the tags. And when you look at these tags, we have something called an anchor string. So really what we do is we search through the document for the anchor string that you put in here. So in this case, when I find the letters PO pound colon, that means I'm going to drop a tag, or JuicedSign is going to drop a tag when it sees that. So if you're trying to, if there's no anchor string in the system or in that file that says PO number pound, you'll get an error. And sometimes you'll get that rent your pen rather than ink error. Most times you'll get, in that case, in the preview, you'll get anchor string not found. So, and actually, you know what? I'll show you that one. If I come in here and I modify this tag and I say, you know what, let's make it XO number, because I know that's definitely not in the document that we're looking to scan. Now I click the preview, I should get an error here, and I did. And it's basically saying, hey, anchor string XO pound is not found. So that's an alert saying our preview is saying, let's check the document, let's check all of the tags and make sure they exist and the anchor strings exist. So that's one error that you might get. So let's go back and let's fix that properly so that we know that we have that right. So I'm going to go back in here and I'm going to change XO back to and when I go back to that quote, this time the preview should work. And once it does its verification, it'll show the recipients in a drop-down list. If there's one recipient or more, you'll see them in a drop-down. And then you can just open this up and you should see that this is the actual anchor string that the tag was dropped from. It searched for the string PO pound colon, and then it put a tag here from an offset. And then down here, it was actually looking for what we call a hidden tag. I'm going to show you what that looks like. So in our document template, again, here's the PO pound, but if you look over here, I'm going to highlight this and change the font. That's a hidden tag. All we did was because I didn't know what to key off of in the document. So what I'm doing is I'm hiding a tag that we're using. And the way I hid it was, I'm going to change this back to black. I typed that value in JS1, and it could be anything. You can just come up with any cryptic values you want, and you just make the font white. So now technically it's a tag in the document, but nobody sees it but JuicedSign. So that's how we do a lot of tagging if we're not sure what values in the document we can find and tag that are unique. So that's a great way to kind of hide tags from customers from seeing them, but use them for tag placement. Okay, so that's one way we do that.
Right. And Keith, I think one thing to note there is see how it says the word client next to it? Some people might think that that's a good thing to tag off of, but I showed a real client an example yesterday of one of our quotes. And if you hit Control F and type in the word client, and it's not going to work for this one because there's only one client, but if you put client in there, what our process is going to do is find anything that has your tag. So doing something unique like /JS1 or /S1 would in all likelihood only come up with one thing, like this would come up twice and you would have two tags there.
Yeah, because I was playing around with this earlier today because I wanted to do that same thing that Matt's trying to highlight is if the word this, if I'm using that as an anchor string and it's not unique throughout the document, it's going to place a tag offset from this word this, and it's going to place a tag offset from this word this. So it's not probably the experience you're looking for. So in the case where you can't find something unique in the visible text, you can use the hidden text option. But in this case, the other thing is with the PO number is I knew there was no other text throughout the document that said PO pound colon. That's why I used it. And I wanted to show you how there's two strategies there for tagging with anchor strings, visible tags as well as hidden tags. So that's kind of what we wanted to show there. But again, there, if you use an anchor string, you have to be really careful. If you put a space in here and you don't put that space in the tag table, it's not going to find that tag. So you will get that error on the preview screen that says tag not found. But that's a common, error, and it's something that you should watch out for. But the preview is a great way to just make sure that everything, once it previews and you see the document and the tags line up right, when you do hit the send to JuicedSign, everything should work at that point. So when we click send to JuicedSign, now this is the official, this is actually going to create the agreement. It's going to send it out to Lisa Jones at this email address, which obviously is my email address for testing. And it'll send it out via what we call remote recipient. And I'll explain that one in a second too. So once I did that, so it created an agreement in the management table. It created a recipient record, and it actually changed the statuses of to delivered for both the agreement and the recipient. So if I go back into my Gmail, I should see, all right, I got an email from JuicedSign. So now I'm going to actually click to review this. So now you notice before, this is the JuicedSign experience here where you have to check the box to agree to sign electronically. You click continue. You can see now that when you click to start, it jumps you down to the first actionable spot in the document. Let's say I'm going to pull in a PO number. And then I'm going to scroll down a little bit and I see, oh, there's where I'm supposed to sign. I can choose my style. I can hit save. And once I hit finish, it'll complete this. And now that's a single signer. So I wanted my customer to sign. But, and actually this will come back to Quickbase and it'll store itself in the file attachment field right on the record. And these are some of the things that we've explained in past videos, but it'll store it right in this signed document field here. So basically what we're doing is we're waiting for the document to return back to Quickbase, along with that purchase order number too. So I think that purchase order field, where is it? There it is right there. So the data came back already, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And let's just see if the document came back yet. Yep, the document came back. Here it is. Signed with the PO number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 included. And there's the name, the date, and also what we call our agreement certificate, which explains everything that happened in the process. How many recipients were involved, how many of them had to sign, who sent the document, who the recipient was, what IP address they signed from, and the delivered open signed statusing, as well as the signature that comes back. So this is also the terms that were behind that checkbox. We also include that so that you know what they agreed to when they actually signed this document. Now, we don't have to bring this back with the document. A lot of times it doesn't happen. You don't really want that coming back. We're just showing you we can bring it back into a merged document in your app. But what the customer gets, and here's my email again, the customer is not going to get that fully signed with the certificate. They just get a document that looks like what they signed. So the end customer doesn't get the certificate of agreement. That's something for you. But if you want that separated, you can also separate it in 2 fields within our table. So I could have brought it back here and brought the signed document back here and the certificate by itself here. These are some of the different options that we have, and we explain those in our help on how to break that out. But what I wanted to show you here is now I had an agreement, but I had 1 signer. But what if you want 2 signers? So it's an important too, as part of legally binding process following the standards. You really should have 2 signers in an agreement. You should have the originator or the person who sends it, and you should have the recipient. So, we're recommending that that's the approach you take. So in the example I just gave you, that's not the approach we took here. But again, you can do that on your own if you want. But what we really recommend is having 2 signers. So I'm going to show you how to add another signer to that same template that we're working with. Now, I'm going to backtrack one thing. Our setup wizard right now, when you set up your app, it only allows you to do 1 signer. But Dylan is working diligently on our wizard, and he shared me a screenshot. He's working on this. It should be released within the next day or so. But when you do set up your application or a table to use JuicedSign, we're giving you the ability now to set up 2 signers. So your first signer is what you do today is who's going to sign the document. That's usually your customer. Sometimes it really depends on how you want to set it up. But we're going to give you the option to do 2 signers. So you're going to set up the same thing you're doing now. First signer is, and I'm going to explain what the type is. It's captive or email, but you're going to choose the field that has the name and the email. And then the next screen, he sent me 2 screenshots. Pull that one over. Second signer, you're just going to choose the name and the email. The reason for the first signer having an option, the second signer is always going to receive it through email. Okay, there's no captive in that. But the first signer can sign off captively, meaning inside of Quickbase. Why would you want to do that? Well, in our case, we send out our quotes from our salespeople. Like maybe Matt will send a document, I'll sign a document, James will sign a document. Anybody on our team will send out a document for signature. We don't want to wait for an email to sign off on that before we send it to our customer. We want to sign off right in Quickbase. So we want to use captive as the first signer. The second signer obviously is going to get it through email because they're not in Quickbase. They're one of our customers who's elsewhere. But the first signer we want to show captive. You don't have to do that. First signer can be remote or email, but this is like a little bit more of a streamlined workflow. So you would choose captive as your first one. But again, this isn't in the wizard right now. It will be, but I'm going to show you how you can set this up manually without the wizard. Okay. So again, remember I told you about the 2 important fields that we have down here, our doc fids and our recipient string. Now, what I did was I created a new template. So remember, our other template had one signing section down here, and that was for our customer. Well, what I did was I shot that over to the left because I want my customer to sign off over here, but I want us as the salespeople to sign off over here. So basically, I just created a new Exact Forms Plus template, and I'm using our hidden strings in here as well, so you can see when I highlight these red, I'm using JS2 there for my sales exec. So this is Exact Forms Plus is going to generate this document. It's going to put my salesperson's name here. Excuse me, and when JuicedSign sends it, it's going to be able to have 2 people sign. So the template's good. The template is in my document templates table. Let me just go to that. I'm going to go, so I added a new document template. So here's my original one, which was a single signer. I created a new document template and I uploaded this Word document with 2 signers. And what I also did was I copied the JuicedSign tags from the template number 8, because that was for the first signer. Now you remember we had PO number and we had JS1 and we had JS1 for the signature stuff, right? So that my customer is going to sign off. And what I want to do is I want to add some more tags here because this just supports my first signer. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create 2 new tags because I don't need a PO number for my salesperson. That's my customers. I'm going to steal that one. I'm going to copy it.
Now, if you guys see what Keith is doing right there, that is a shortcut though. And that definitely, if you're going to do that, Keith's going to go through what you need to change, but that is definitely something that you can do, but be aware that, you know,
That's cheating.
it's cheating.
Cheated that. I could have did an ad, but I wanted to, since for saving time here, I wanted to do it this way. So really, I'm going to leave recipient 1 here. This is important. I'm copying these for my salesperson, but my salesperson's technically going to be recipient 1, not recipient 2 anymore. Okay, so I'm going to leave that alone, but I'm going to say this is really my sales rep signature. So I'm just changing the label. And it's still going to be a signature tag, but remember the template itself. We look at that template. That's the wrong one. Remember my tag here is JS2, right? So I want from JS2, I'm going to search at JS2 and I'm going to stay at the 0 offset, which is X offset is left to right. The YF offset is up and down. So I'm going to, with our signing tags, you're going to have to play around with this, but this is a great offset here is -8. Just remember that one because we use that a lot with our tagging. It's just going to bring the tag up a little bit. And this is for tag placement in the preview when you look at it through preview. So, and I'm going to show you what that means in here. And everything else you're going to leave blank. But what these other options are is what it's a signature tag, and this is the different types of tags. When I copied that, I copied the signature tag, but you can create other tags besides signatures. These parameters are for tag placement and height and width and font family. That's more like for a text tag. You're not going to do that for a signature tag because we control that within the signing experience. But this drawing stuff, this section here is related to the signature. And really, we have some help here because we had to play around with different parameters for really. When someone draws a tag inside of a JuicedSign, the palette that we draw on is sized a certain way, and the image itself that's rendered from that comes back to us a certain way. So we have to do some different offsetting with the signed signature as opposed to selecting a signature from the UI. So we default a lot of this for you, so you don't have to do that. But so right now we're just going to keep those as is because I don't want to get too deep in here, but we can always go into that at a later date. But really all I did was I copied the signature tag. I changed to JS2. I'm leaving it recipient 1, and I'm just going to save this. So now I'm going to go back to my 2 signers template. So now I have 4 tags in here. So I need 1 more. So I'm going to go back to my template number 8 because I want to grab that date signed. So I'm going to copy this one again. And I'm going to associate it with my number 9 tag. My number 9 template, and everything else is good except for my JS2. Now let's go back to my 2 signer. Has 3 tags for recipient. All of these tags are for recipient 1, which is not good. because I want recipient 1 to be the sales rep and I want recipient 2 to be the customer. So I'm going to cheat again and I'm just going to grid edit this and I'm going to change recipient. The first 3 to recipient 2. Now, recipient 1 is going to be my sales rep. Recipient 2 is going to be my customer. So now I set all my tags up. So my document template was modified. My tags were modified. So from that standpoint, the template is good. What I need to do now is I have to go back into Quickbase, into the quotes table, and I have to set up my recipient string so that I can have 2 recipients. Right now, it's only for 1 recipient. Okay, so I have a sales rep name and I have a sales rep email address. So I want to send, so my sales rep is Chris Baker at my juiced email address. I want that person to sign before my customer signs. So I'm going to come in here and I'm going to edit this. And we give you a little help here too, just to kind of show you what this should string out to. But what I'm going to do is, and I did another little thing. I just want to show you here. With Exact Forms Plus, I added a field called number of signers because I'm going to vary the template that's used based on the number of signers. You see the template changing here. Template number 8 was used with 1 signer. Template number 9 is going to be used for 2 signers. So when I click this button, it's going to use this to determine which document template to use. But remember other important field? I also vary that. And I'm going to show you how I do that. So let's say I make that 2 and I hit save. If I go back to that field down here on my tab, whoops. I have a little if statement in here that says, vary the template to use. Instead of hard coding it, use that field TPID to use. So now I know I'm going to grab the tags from the right template. Exact Forms Plus is going to save the document here no matter what. So I didn't have to change that. But now I need to change my recipient string to add another recipient if 2 recipients are required. So I have a little if statement in there. If there's 1 signer, I'm going to use what we're already using, which was already in there. Okay. But if there's more than 1 signer, then I'm going to do 2 things. I am going to, whoops. So the first, if there's 1 signer, I'm going to keep doing what I was doing. Otherwise, okay, I'm going to set my first recipient to be the sales rep name because I want to sign it first as the sales rep. That's a field in Quickbase. And I think the email address was JuicedSign sender email. Okay. Now remember before I said I want this person to be the first signer and I want my customer to be the second signer. There's also an order that you have to worry about. So so this is the recipient. This is the order of signing, and we have that up here. The recipient ID and the order. So I want the salesperson to be the first recipient and in the first order. Now, one other, I don't want to get to that. Let's make my customer the second recipient, but important, we separate all recipients by a pipe. So now I have pipe 2. So recipient number 2 is the customer, and their order is 2. If I left that at 1, they would get the signing request right away when the first recipient got it. So I don't want that to happen. I don't want the second signer to get it until the first signer already gets it. Okay, so that's what I need to do. But remember I told you I wanted to do captive. Here's the captive parameter. I'm going to make that true. So I want my salesperson to sign off in captive mode, and I want my customer to sign off in remote mode. Now, I hope I did that right. So now before I do, I'm going to hit the preview button, but I want to just scroll down and check this out. Okay, so here's my recipient string. Chris Baker is number 1, which I don't think I did that right. Yes, Chris Baker is a salesperson. That's right. That's me. It went going to my email address, and it's going to be in recipient mode. Lisa Jones is the customer going to my Gmail, second recipient, second signer, second order, and they're going to get it remotely. But let's check the preview and make sure that looks good. Because, well, before we do that, let's create the document because the old document is still in there. So let's create a new document. So it's going to use template number 9, which is our 2 signer template. There we go. There's two signers. So ExactForms Plus created a document and it used the new document template, number 9. So now when I click the preview now, it's going to grab that file and it's going to check, are all the recipients there and all the tags there? And hope if I get to this point, I'm halfway there. Means that the tags are there, the recipients are there. So let's take a look. Okay, Chris Baker, that's me, the salesperson. Let's check out what tags that person's supposed to have. Let's blow this up a bit. All right. So there I am. Chris Baker needs to sign down here. And that's going to be the date that's going to drop. So when I change this to be Lisa Jones, I should see PO number tag here. I drop here and I should see a client and a date, a sign and a date here. So let's say Lisa Jones. All right, there's the PO number and there's the signing tags. So now I just showed you how we can set up the two signers. So now let's actually see what happens when we click this send to JuicedSign. So I want to see what that captive signing experience is. Again, you'll see these. I'm creating another agreement for the same quote. You might not do that all the time. That's why you'll see this here, but you'll see we add new agreement records and new recipient records too. So you're going to see another agreement record pop in here, and you're going to see 2 more recipient records when I'm done here. But let's send this to JuicedSign. So JuicedSign again is going to say, okay, you sure you want to do this? You want to send this quote to these 2 people. Here's the signing order, the email addresses, whether they're captive or remote. You see, I'm going to be captive here. So if everything looks good, if you don't like it, hit close. It doesn't create any agreements. If you do like it and you want to move forward with this, hit send to JuicedSign. Now, you notice it didn't just ask me to close the screen because now I'm in captive mode. So here it's telling me the first signer, who's the salesperson, could go right into JuicedSign and sign now. They don't have to wait for an email to come to sign. So again, they check the terms and conditions. They still have to do that because it's still part of the process. So you can read the terms and conditions, say, yes, I do want to sign electronically. And you can click the box and say, okay. And now when I hit start, I'm going right down to the salesperson signing. Remember, I'm not responsible for filling in the PO number. That's my customer. And this is my customer's information. So I'm going to click to sign. I'm either going to draw or I'm going to choose one. Let's choose one. And it drops the date in there and you can't modify that. And now I hit finish. So now my email should get an email for Lisa Jones' side of the process. Let's go back into my Gmail, sorry. Okay, so here's the Lisa Jones request for signature, but let's go back into that record quick. Sorry, I have so many tabs open.
That's not even the half of it, Keith.
I know, Todd's a lot worse. Okay, so remember I told you there was going to be another agreement record, and there were going to be 2 more recipient records. This one here, and that one there was for the first agreement. And you can tell by the agreement ID, which I don't have shown on here. But anyway, here's the one that just was sent out to Lisa Jones to my Gmail. And this was the one that was delivered here. So the status of the agreement overall is delivered because not everybody finished. Okay, only 1 recipient completed. So that's why that's still in delivered mode. Let's go back into my email. So again, I'm Lisa Jones, the customer. I should see the sales. As Lisa Jones, I'm going to agree to the terms and conditions. I do want to sign electronically. So now, as the customer, I'm supposed to enter in a PO number. But hey, also I can see Chris Baker's signatures in there as well. So I know that the salesperson signed off. So let's just type in a different PO number. And remember, we bring that back to Quickbase, along with the document and the signature. And let's actually draw this signature. See how that goes. That's terrible.
It is terrible. Jeez.
That's really bad. But so we're finished the process. Let's go back into our quote. So we should see statuses being updated. So both agreements are updated. All recipients have signed. Now we're just waiting for the new agreement to come in. That was the original one. That was from the first test. I could have created another quote, but for speed here, I wanted to do it all within the same quote. But in a couple seconds, we should get a new file attachment field come back here. And we'll see both signatures
Right. And I think this might be a good time to, there you go, Keith. This might be a good time to also ask, now that we see this finished document and that ridiculous squiggle, does anyone have any questions about what they've seen so far? I know that we went through a lot in a short period of time, and some of you guys may have started the trial for JuicedSign at this point. As you guys may know, JuicedSign month is May. So the month of May, we're allowing you to install and trial this the entire time for free. You, of course, should take action on that if you guys are interested. It's a good time to kind of flesh out your workflow and your process and have us help you guys out and kind of understand it in meetings like this. So is there any questions on what Keith just went over, or errors that you may be getting if you have installed it? And maybe we didn't touch upon it here, not to call you out, but Josh, you mentioned something before about pen ran out of ink.
Yeah, I reran it again to see. I made sure all of the fields that you guys showed there were filled in, and it doesn't give me necessarily an error code. It just says try checking with the sender again. I can do a screenshot here real quick. It gets through and allows me to pick the recipient, which is all set up correctly. But the JuicedSign, whoops, looks like your pen ran out of ink. Something went wrong. Sorry, that's our bad. Please try again later. If the problem persists, please contact the sender.
Okay, that almost sounds as if you're the second recipient. But I don't know for sure just by hearing it. But
Did you set that up as one recipient or with one signer or two signers?
Just one.
And did you check to make sure this recipient string is nailed down?
Yep, it's my email. It's there. Now, when you were showing the preview there, where I had the documents and the recipients, and that mine just shows documents, shows the PDF, and then it says the send reminder in days. It doesn't have. Oh yeah, it's the same as that. Never mind.
Okay.
I thought I had.
And you were able to. And you were able to select the recipient.
Correct. Yep.
And it crashed here when you did this.
Yep.
So the document never loaded. It just gave you the error message.
It's the picture of the orange. Give me a thumbs up.
Yep. It should be thumbs down. We'll have to work on that.
yeah, we'll have to.
Dylan's on it already.
That's fine.
We'll have to take that one. We'll have to take that one offline though, just so we can nail that down. But one other thing, while I'm here, I just wanted to show you one great thing for the preview is. So if I go back into this preview and I choose that first recipient, let's choose the second recipient for a second. I want to show you, like, if you want to move these things around, it's very easy to do. So all you really, but we don't have a WYSIWYG editor where you can drag and drop these things. That's going to be in versions to come. But we kind of modeled this off of what we do with DocuSign here. So if you need to adjust things, what you really need to do is you need to go back to the recipient tags for that template. So we're dealing with template number 9. So if I go back into template number 9, when I go to my recipients tags and I go to that PO number tag, again, what I told you before is the X and Y offsets control left to right. The X again, it's horizontal, left and right, and your vertical offset is your Y. So if I wanted to bring that, let's say I wanted to bring it more to the right, and 72 pixels is an inch. And let's bring it more to the right. So when we land and we find our PO number, right now we're going 72 pixels over to the right. Let's add another 72 to it. It's going to go off the page probably, but let's just do that anyway, just to see how it goes. And maybe let's take the Y offset instead of going up 3. Let's go up maybe, I don't know, 25 and just see what happens there when I do that. So now when I go back to my quote, which again, I should bounce it around here. Sorry. When I go to the preview button, when I look at my Lisa Jones, because that's my customer who we're messing with the PO number, you can see now, okay, the PO number adjusted. So I did move it over another, maybe half an inch, and I moved it down more. So that's really how you mess around with the tags. So, when you're in here and you're just looking for placement, you do it the first time and you say, okay, you know what? That's good. And sometimes this works too with sending it over to your other screen here. If I go back to my tags and I change this tag now. Yes, let's put that back to 72. And I believe it was what, -3 or -3? Let's say that. So if I do that and I come back over here and I don't know if it's going to work because Manal's probably going to kill me for this, but let's just see if it reloads it from there. Haha, it did. Now it won't kill me. So it reloads it. So that's one way you can bring your preview over to the other screen and you can kind of tweak your tags and come back in here, just reset the recipient that you're working with, and that'll kind of help you with placement of tags. So moving the tags around left to right, up to down, up and down, that's a way to kind of perfect those tags. Again, this doesn't count towards transactions. When you're using our preview, this is really a helper to help you kind of get the tags to line up where they need to be. The only time that it counts towards your, let's say, allotment of agreements is when you actually click the send to JuicedSign button, which actually creates an agreement. So we charge per agreement as part of, that's our transactions. All of our add-ons, we have transaction usage parameters. JuicedSign is every time you click the button to create. And now, if you click this button and you don't click send to JuicedSign, it doesn't create an agreement. So it's not going to cost you, it doesn't go against your allotment. So you can just click close. It refreshes the screen, but it didn't create another agreement. There's still 2 here. But the minute you click that and you say, yes, I want to send it, it creates the agreement, then it starts logging against your usage.
Annette loves it, Keith.
Oh, yeah. Good, Annette. So anybody else have any questions? I know I talk fast just in general. Sorry about that. But this video is going to be available. Justin makes these things available usually within 24 hours up on our help site. The help site, Justin, could you just drop a link to the help site? This is our help site. Our team's been, Todd especially, Manal, have been working really, really hard to get as much information on a help site as possible. And I believe Todd had entered a lot of stuff about multiple recipients too. I'm just not, I don't remember where he put it. Todd, where's that? Oh, right there.
Right. So that one I have dropped in the chat, if that's the one you were referring to.
Yep. So this is, Todd had put this together just recently about, adding multiple recipients and so on. So it's kind of what I was just going through. And again, our documentation is very helpful. We do the screenshots so that you can kind of sit and walk through this on your own and see if it kind of guides you in the right direction. But it's pretty much exactly what I just went through here.
That's great. That is definitely very helpful to have. And like Justin said, he put that in the chat. Again, I do want to open this up for questions again. We had a couple people who jumped on halfway through the call. So I'm not sure, where you might have left off. But today was basically just an overall summary of how to do JuicedSign and how to make changes to your current document and sort of make additional documents. Keith went over adding 2 signers. The client does not need DocuSign. Annette, correct. So we had a question in the chat. The client does not need a DocuSign account for this. No, you do not.
Very, very important. I'm glad you asked that question, Annette. No DocuSign account. So basically it's all JuicedSign. And that's one of the drivers behind us building our own, is because we have a great DocuSign for Quickbase add-on, which isn't going away. We're not supporting that anymore. We obviously still have that. It's a great add-on, but it does come with added expense of having DocuSign in the background. So, a lot of our customers push this to say, hey, can't you do the same thing without DocuSign? And we did. And that's what you're seeing here. And we're very, very proud of that. And it's going to, it's going to evolve. Obviously, DocuSign's been around for 20 years. I think they just celebrated their 20-year anniversary. So they have so much functionality, have so much manpower behind them and horsepower behind them. JuicedSign is going to evolve and it's going to grow. But we took a lot of the experience that we had with our DocuSign integration. We've built that into the first version of JuicedSign. There's a lot of other things we need to add to it. But we figured it was at a good point now to release, to get people to get documents out there signed without having to use DocuSign and still have a legally binding document stored in your QuickBase application, tracking it, monitoring it, bringing the documents back, bringing data back. So it's a good point, Annette.
Yep. It's very exciting. Okay. Just again, I want to make sure that we drive that home. Any questions from clients who have not had a chance to install this? Maybe, you have questions on the wizard. Keith did not go through the wizard today. That would be from last week's webinar. We went through the whole DIY wizard from the Juice Cloud. Yep, thanks, Keith. So we had our whole webinar last week on it. Sorry, one down.
No, one down.
We went through the whole thing on the wizard. You can follow along there. It's just like our other wizards. So if you've used Exact Forms Plus or if you've used Excel Docs, it should be very similar for you. And you can go through all of that there. And of course, if you have questions, comments, concerns, please reach out to support or reach out to one of us on the call here, and we'd be happy to help you. But for now, and Josh, just so you know, I got just actually a private message to me. There happens to be a space in the record's name. There's a space in it.
All right, I'll take a look.
Yeah, so I got that from Fairy in the Sky, we'll call it.
That was our lifeline.
From a lifeline. Yeah, just one extra space is apparently in there. And that's actually a great thing to point out is it can be as little as one extra space that could throw something like this off.
Was it in the recipient string?
I believe it was. Yes.
Yeah,
But
very, very important to not have any spaces throughout this whole thing.
So, can you hear me? Hi,
Yes,
Joshua.
Rohit. Yeah.
Yeah, sorry, the recipient's name is test, and thereafter a number. So between the first name and the second name, I mean the middle name, there are two spaces instead of a single space. So we will try and figure out a fix for this, but then I just wanted to tell the error.
Great.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Lifeline.
Rohit.
Rohit.
Perfect.
So it's in the naming convention of my user then.
So
Yeah.
yes, so the first name is test, and thereafter there are two spaces before you begin the name of before you begin the middle name. So that's something.
Needle in a haystack.
I'm just special. That's what it is.
But these are good things to send back to us though, because we're always looking to try to figure out how we can prevent these things from happening, because obviously we can't like predict all the potential ways people can enter data into the QuickBase application and into fields. We account for as many as we can, but there's always new ones that come up. So keep sending them our way, and we'll get on them and try to figure it out. And we'll try to put a change in the system itself to identify if there's a potential issue that before you see him, the juicy guy with his thumb up when it should be thumb down.
The thumbs up is a little more positive. We'll stay positive here.
Yeah, we're optimistic. That's what it's oops is your pen had to run out of ink, but we're on it.
Right. All right. Well, with that said, I think that we're going to wrap it up for today. Next week, we will probably be taking a break from JuicedSign. We might do a little tag team between Exact Forms Plus and QB Courier, but that's to be announced. Thank you all for coming. We hope that this was beneficial for you, and please join us next week. Have a great rest of your week.
Thank you, everyone.
Oh, wait. Can you please share this recording? Yes.
Yes.
Absolutely. This recording will be shared, and we'll make sure you get a copy of it. All right. Thank you.